Oh, what to do, what to do, what to do. Decisions, decisions. Hey, good morning, everyone. Welcome to 7 a.m. John Henry Soto here. It is Monday. It is June 7th, 2021. Had a great weekend, actually. A very busy weekend. Did a lot of things this weekend. Went to New York City for some stuff. It was my wife's birthday on Friday, and then Saturday she had a party, had a lot of her friends over. I took care of the kids because it was a kind of an all girls kind of party. I did crash it a few times to take some photos and to make some jokes. It was a fun time for them and for my wife and everything. We had a great time, especially considering some stuff is transpiring in our lives, major decisions that we've made, and we're going to be announcing and talking about those very very soon. Really interesting stuff, great stuff, and it's part of the reason why I decided to do this show today because you know we all have our what to do moments, right? What should you do, what should you do, and how do you operate when you have decisions to make? What do you use? Let me know in the comments if you're here, or send me an email and let me know what you use, because I'm curious to see what other people do when they have to make certain decisions. It could be major decisions or it can be small decisions. Now we're talking about some major decisions here. We're not talking about what restaurant to go to Friday night. I mean, if you have that problem, if that's your issue, then you might that's a different level of stuff. You should be more concerned with that, because that's pretty serious. Um, but I guess that happens to everybody. Right? You don't know what you're gonna eat. It's like, I always end up doing the same thing, right? I don't know what I'm gonna order, and then I end up just getting a same place we always order from and just getting a burger, right? Simple. Um, but that's not what I'm talking about. By the way, my name is John Henry Soto, and if you enjoy these morning chats, please like, share, and subscribe to this channel. Tell your friends, hey, there's this little Puerto Rican dude. He wears a cowboy hat sometimes for some reason. Not a cowboy, although he is from the South Bronx. And he comes up on the morning and he talks about certain things, challenges in life, and stuff like that. And once in a while, he also enjoys making a joke or two. So tell your friends and like, share, and subscribe. You can actually just go visit my page, johnhenrysoto.com, and I'll be more than happy to answer any questions as well. All right. So, one of the things that I always do when I'm trying to make a major decision is that I have to figure out, is it going to be the greatest good for the greatest number of areas in my life, right? Hello, I'm also live on Instagram here. Hello, Instagram. Hello, everybody. Everybody. Welcome. All right. So one of the things that I like to do is I like to have what's called the dynamics. Now, the dynamics are dynamics of life, and they are basically urges that we all have towards survival. So survival is what we're all trying to do, right? We're all trying to survive in life. We're all trying to survive with our families, with our friends, our careers, our whatever we have to survive with, right? And sometimes making decisions are difficult, but if you make them based on these eight dynamics, then you have a much better chance of having a better outcome, because it's for the better good, right? So let's go over the dynamics real quick, and then I'll talk about some challenges that you might have and give you some examples, right? So the first dynamic is called self, right? That's pretty obvious, right? First dynamic, self. It has to do with you. It has to do the effort to survive as an individual. This includes your own body, taking care of your body, your mind. This is the highest level of survival for the longest possible time for self, right? The dynamic also includes his possessions, the things that he owned, his personal things. Like my guitar is my part of myself. It's part of something that I have. It's me. It's my thing, right? My glasses, stuff like that. But it doesn't include other people or anything like that, right? That's just you don't own anybody or nobody. Even though somebody's really close to you, that's not part of yourself. It's really you, right? Your urge to survive towards yourself. The second one is called the creativity one, but it also has to do with the family unit, raising children, the family, that family dynamic. Sometimes a family could also be just a very very close friends, right? Become sort of like a family, and they create a second dynamic, right? It also includes sex as a way to continue the race and to continue moving forward, society, right, and the planet, and the second dynamic as a group as well, right, and raising children and all those things all included within the second dynamic, right? Number the third one is the groups. Any group that you belong to, right? Whether it's your church group, whether it's your band, whether you're part of a chess club, whatever group you belong to. Even if you work for a company, right, and you're part of this group dynamic, you all have one goal. You work for, I don't know, you work for Mercedes Benz, you work for Tesla, you work for, I don't know why I'm naming cars, but you you work for McDonald's, you work for Walmart. That's a dynamic as well. That's called a third dynamic, and it's the group, and it's operating and living through the existence of that group, right? A group can be a community, it can be a group of friends, right? Which also can go as a group, that a second dynamic as well. So it can have a little bit of those two dynamics within, right? But it could be just a group of friends that you get together every Friday night for drinks. It could be a company, a social lodge, a state, a nation, a race, just any kind of group, no matter what size the group is. They're seeking to survive, right? The fourth dynamic is species, which has to do with all of mankind, all of us together on this little uh, thing floating through space, this little marble, right, floating through space. All of it has to do with that, with the fourth dynamic. Okay, men, women, everything. The fifth one is life forms, meaning this has to do with like animals, birds, insects, fish, vegetation, anything to do that's animal, or any object that's motivated by life, right? Anything that exists, that lives, a little ant, right, is part of this dynamic, which is the fifth dynamic, right? And a lot of times we talk about the bees, right? We need the bees to survive, right? So that's that fifth dynamic that we have to take care of. The trees, right? We're destroying the Amazon, right? Chopping it all down. Well, that's part of our fifth dynamic, right? So it's affecting the whole planet. It's affecting all of us. It's an important dynamic. The sixth dynamic is the physical universe dynamic. Now, the physical universe dynamic is anything that's solid. My hat, my shirt, my actually my body too. This, my rings, my microphone, my computer, my cell phone right here, the stand that's holding my cell phone, my coffee mug. Hold on. Mm, the coffee that's inside. Anything that's solid that can actually be experienced or touched in any way, right? The physical, there's a couple of components that have to do with the physical universe, which is matter, energy, space, and time. These four components, right? And they all, the word actually mest comes from it. It's matter, energy, space, and time. Mest. And that's the sixth dynamic that has to do with any physical thing that you run into, your car, anything physical, right? The seventh dynamic is the spiritual dynamic. So you as a spiritual being, right? The urge to survive as a spiritual being, um, or the urge to survive as life as survival. But anything that's spiritual, right? Anything that's spiritual. That's pretty much all I can say on that one. That's the seventh dynamic, and then the eighth dynamic is what you well sometimes we call the God dynamic, right? The supreme being, the creator, whatever God is in your understanding of your reality, it's God, right? So we have God. That's the eighth dynamic, right? It's infinity, right? It's forever, right? So these are the eight dynamics. So why do I talk about these in making decisions? Well, when you're when you come up to a part of life, anything in life that's challenging, and you have to make a decision on, you start trying to figure out what would be better for you, right? And that's kind of like the natural, normal thing. Like, what will be my better situation? Now, if you have a family, that kind of expands a little bit, right? You start thinking about your family. What will be better for the family? What will be better for? And some people actually don't make decisions based on what's the best thing for the family, right? They make decisions based on what's best for them, for their mental state, for their whatever, and they ignore the second dynamic, right? The family unit. They ignore that, so what ends up happening is that they end up hurting the second dynamic because they're only making decisions based on first. So if first decision, like, I don't know, somebody who drinks a lot, or does any kind of a drug or something, it's that's for them. They want to feel good. They can't confront certain things in life, so they take this stuff, right? It could be also somebody who's addicted to medication or something, right? They're not thinking of the second dynamic or the third dynamic or the fourth dynamic. They're not thinking of any of it. It's only the first dynamic. I need to feel good because I'm not mentally. So the decision sometimes, and not all the times, but sometimes that decision hurts the other dynamics and makes things much, much more difficult to try to succeed and to reach whatever goals you have, right? So so look at you when you look at a decision, look at it through these eight dynamics and try to decide, like, is this decision that I'm about to make or that I'm thinking of making going to be greater for the greater number of those dynamics, or is it going to hurt a greater number of those dynamics, right? So like for instance, you take somebody who has a job, who is low on cash and decides he knows that there's some money that they always have, like petty cash money, right? And he steals this money. I had a guy steal my petty cash once from a job that I worked at. I worked at a health club, and I managed this health club, right? And I had a petty cash box. It didn't have a lot of money. It had like $250 in it, and I had the box under my desk in my office. And I came in the next morning and I was doing my work, whatever. And I looked down and I'm looking for the petty cash because I was going to send somebody to go buy some stuff. And I could not find the damn petty cash. I was like, what the hell happened? So immediately I thought, did somebody take my petty cash? So I have cameras everywhere. I went back and I looked. Sure enough, there's this poor guy coming in. He works for the company. I hired him, and he came in and he stole my petty cash and he took it with him. And I said, I left him a message. So let's talk about his decision, right? So he made a choice. He needed money. That was his first problem, right? That was the problem he was trying to solve, was that he needed money, right? So if he decides that, if his only course of action was to steal, right? So what is he hurting as far as the dynamics? Let's just say, first of all, that he got away with it and that I didn't know what happened to it and I didn't accuse him, right? He's still sitting on that, right? He's still sitting on that. I actually gave him the job. I hired him. I also hired his wife. And he was doing great work. I didn't understand why he would do that. If he needed some extra money, he could have come to me or something. But anyway, he made a decision. Now, this decision not only affected him, but because I found out that it was him, I had to call the police. They came into my office, they looked at the footage. We had photos. It's funny. This was early on of cell phones and being able to take a picture and send it. This was like a kind of a revolutionary thing when I was at this place. And I remember taking a picture of the screen of him taking the thing, and I had to message it to one of the police officers, and I also messaged it to the gentleman who stole my money. So he immediately called the office. He was crying. He was upset. I'm sorry, he was upset because he got caught, obviously, right? But of course, I had to let him go. I had to fire him. I said, "Listen, you can't come back here. I had to give your information. I don't own this company, right? That $250 is not really my money. It's the company's money." and the company knows about it, and the company was not happy. So he was very upset about the whole situation, obviously. So he had to fire him. Now it affected his wife because his wife couldn't come back either, because now he's connected. She was in there, and I was asking her about it, and she didn't know anything about it. Of course, she knew about it because about 2 weeks earlier, somebody's laptop was stolen out of the women's locker room. Now, I'm not accusing her because I have no proof of that, but she was on duty, and the only person that was on duty that day was her. I'm just, of course, you're always innocent until proven guilty, but because of this situation, it affected the second that the family. Now, I didn't fire her. I was thinking I had to fire her, but she never came back because she knew she was the jig is up, right? But she never came back. So it affected him. It affected his second dynamic, which was his wife. It affected his third dynamic, which was the group dynamic here, right? That we had. It affected his fourth dynamic, which is mankind, because mankind should not be stealing from one another, and it affected the fifth dynamic. It affected spiritually. That's the seventh dynamic. It affected his sixth dynamic, which was physical stuff, right? Because he got the money, but now he's got no money coming in now. He has no income now, right? So it affected that, and of course, if it, whatever you see of God, it affected him. Hello, what's up, uh, Ishmael? How you doing? So it affected his all his dynamics. So had he thought, okay, I need money. Now here's the decision that he could have made, right? I need extra money. I'm running low on cash. I don't have money to pay. Let's just say it doesn't have money to pay the light bill or rent, whatever. So if he would have made a decision and he would have said, New Hope Foundation Center. Hey, all right. Sounds awesome. Thank you. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it. I'm also live on Instagram here, folks. So let's just say he would have decided, you know what? I'm not going to steal money. I'm going to actually go ask somebody. So he would have taken the eight dynamics if he knew this information. He would have said, okay, the eighth dynamic. Okay, number one, self. Is it going to help me? It's going to help my situation. Yeah, it is, because it's going to help my situation. I need money. Me. Second, is it going to help my second dynamic, my family unit? No, because my wife works there, and if we get caught, okay, that's number two. Number three, is it going to help my third dynamic, the company that I work for, the group that I belong to? No, because I just stole from the company. So that's not going to be a good thing. Is it going to help mankind because now I'm a thief? No, pretty much not. Is it going to help fifth dynamic, the sixth dynamic, the seventh, the spiritual dynamic? Is it going to help any dynamic by me stealing this money? It's going to help me, first dynamic, and not really either, right? Because it's your possessions, but not the stolen possessions that you own, right? So it doesn't even really help that. But in your mind, you think that these decisions are going to help you on the first dynamic, right? But in actuality, what's happening is it's hurting the seven dynamics. And it's actually hurting all the dynamics. And all these dynamics, when you hurt one, they all get affected, right? Because they're all connected, because we're all one unit living, right? We're all one entity, one spiritual being, right? It's going to affect all of it, from spirituality to God to your family to your group. It affects all of it. So when I look at a situation that I have to make a decision on, I have to look at it. Is this going to be the greatest good for the greatest number of dynamics, right? And I look at it like, for myself, is it going to help me? Okay, it's going to help me. Is it going to help my family? Yes. Is it going to help the group I belong to? Yes. Is it going to help all these things together? Is it going to be the greatest good for the greatest number of dynamics, right? Or bad for the greatest number of dynamics? And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how I make decisions. So this episode, I'm calling it what to do, right? And so when I'm looking at certain things, and sometimes they can be simple decisions too, right? Like, even like I was talking about earlier about ordering food. Now, sometimes we want to order from a specific place. My wife and I like more exotic foods. Our kids do not. So we have to compromise, right? We have to figure out, okay, well, we're going to order from this place, and then we're going to order from that place. Now, some people will be like, no, no, we're ordering from where I want to order from, and that's it. I make the money, I pay the bills, we're going to order from here. So what you're doing there is, again, self, is the family unit going to be happy? No, because some people aren't going to like that food, right? The third dynamic, people, the group is not going to help the group dynamic. It's not going to help too many things. So you make compromises and you say, all right, we'll order from two different places. Is it a little bit more inconvenient? Yeah, it's a tiny bit, but not a huge deal, right? Now that's a small decision, small situation. Sometimes these things get bigger, like, do I quit my job? Right? Well, what's happening with your job? Are you upset at your job? Are you mistreated at your job? Are you not making enough money? Are you not being appreciated in your job? Well, now you have to look at all these things. Well, how much money do I need to operate a month? And you grab your book, which I talk about this a lot. This is my little journal that I write all my notes in every day. Take your book and you start writing down. Okay, all my bills, and you, okay, I need this amount of money. Well, now you have, at least when you're making a decision, you're taking responsibility for that decision, and you're not just quitting because you hate your boss or because you can't work with these people anymore. You have to find ways to get through with using the dynamics, so this way you're not affecting your family and your group, and putting yourself in a worse situation. And a lot of people have done that. They've quit jobs because that job pays more, but they get to that job and they hate that job. They say, yeah, but it pays more. But you just put yourself in a situation where you hated. Why didn't you stay at where you were and try to make more money there, or maybe try to get a raise, or try to do such a good job that they actually promote you or something, you know? Because now you've put yourself in a much tougher situation. Is where the expression where out of the frying pan into the fire, right? You're in the frying pan, you hate it, it's hot, so you decide to jump out, but you jump right into the fire where it's hotter. Not a good, no bueno. All right, folks. So that's my morning conversation on the eight dynamics. I hope that helped you. If you have any information, if you want any information, or if you have any information you want to give me, please do so. You can always email me, and my email is right here. It's John Henry Soto at protonmail.com. You could also visit my website, which is johnhenrysoto.com. And I'm on all social media platforms, John Henry Soto, at all stuff, whatever. Um, and you can message me there. But if you'd like more information on these eight dynamics and what they are and where I learned them and anything like that, please email me. I'll be more than happy to tell you and to have a conversation with you about it. And I hope this helped. All right, folks, thank you very much. Please like, share, and subscribe with your friends if you like this. I will see you tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. And I'm here Monday through Fridays, 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Take care of yourselves. Make today great. Do the things that you love. Take care of yourselves. And as always, peace.